All right, Barakar Tawab, Shalom, Yasharala. Peace be unto the nation of Israel, whom automata they so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and speckled Israelites scattered across the four corners of the earth, including within America, Babylon the Great. And we are the Most High Yahweh's chosen people, the nation of Israel. So without further ado, as always, just want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom is the God of the living, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Barach, Barash, which is our praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten and anointed Son, Yahweh Shai, whom is our strength and our redeemer, and our light and our salvation, and the Holy Spirit. And Shalom, honor, and salutations to Bayash Shadawadah, the house of David, along with the rest of the one-third elect men, women, and children of Israel. All right, it's your fellow servant Malak Rayab, she's back at it again. Another prophetic update centered around Hammuragadwan, this last World War, moderately known as World War III. Within further, reports of these updates, of these rumors of wars, of these war drums beating louder and louder between these heathen nations, mainly provoked by Amalek, all right, on behalf of these Zionist bankers and the Israeli Mossad, the IDF, and Babylon the Great and NATO, all right, further provoking their enemies, all right, to further justify the collapse of this current monetary system, within the transition over to this new satanic dystopian technocracy, all right, where everyone is chipped, all right. So you can see here on CNN's reported, Biden says he sent a message to Iran with the Yemen strikes, calls Houthis a terrorist organization, all right. So it says Sleepy Creepy Joe said Friday he's delivered a message to Iran with Thursday's airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen, which he now is calling a terrorist group, despite his administration 2021 decision to revoke that label. I've already, as I quote him, I've already delivered the message to Iran, Biden said when asked his message during a tour of a coffee shop in Allentown, Pennsylvania. They know not to do anything. Well, that wouldn't appear to be the case because the Houthis just carried out further attacks on the Gulf of Aden, near the Suez Canal, around the Red Sea, which accounts for at least 12% of global trade. So this is going to further affect the retail industry, logistics of the goods and services being further taxed, further affecting supply and demand of these goods and services being distributed into these marketplaces that we shop at, man. All right, and that's going to further cause the gas prices to skyrocket because the enemies of America, Babylon the Great, NATO, and Amalek, the head of the house of Esau, Edom, consists of certain, Muslim nations, all right, that have joined BRICS as of recently, including the United Arab Emirates and Iran, and they continue to be provoked by the U.S. and NATO and their allies, including their top ally Amalek. All right. So the stage is set. The stage is set for the collapse of this national economy in America, which is already well over $34 trillion in debt, and this is why the Fed is cutting interest rates because they know they cannot pay that debt back because it wasn't designed to pay it back. All right. So it says here on MaritimeExecutive.com, Houthi launched new attacks on Gulf of Aden hours after U.S.-UK strikes. The Houthi rebels resumed launching missiles and mounting their attacks only hours after the forces of the U.S. and U.K. struck at their capabilities, while ships are being warned to use caution and avoid the Bab el Mandeb. In the immediate aftermath of last night's strikes, reports are coming in of an attack in the Gulf of Aden. So it says the unidentified ship reported a missile landed in the water approximately 400, 500 meters away. They said the missile was followed by 3 small crafts. The vessel appears to have had no further interaction and was on course for its next port. And dealing with the mentioning of Bab el Mandab, as you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to this next article. Which actually, let me go ahead and pull it out here. So it's on The Guardian. It says, what is the Red Sea's crisis and what does it mean for global trade? Attacks by Houthi rebels along the trade route have led to firms pausing shipments, raising the possibility of a shock to the world economy. The world's largest shipping firms are continuing to pause shipments through the Red Sea after attacks by Houthi rebels along the crucial international trade route, as container ships are diverted around the Cap the Cape of Good Hope on the southern tip of Africa, adding thousands of miles to journeys. The disruption is driving up the cost of shipments from Asia to Europe, raising the prospect of a renewed inflation shock for the world economy. All right, and you can see here, you can see the Red Sea near the Gulf of Aden, all right, which is around the Bab el Mandeb Strait, which is situated between the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa. All right, near the Suez Canal, which accounts for 12% of the global trade, as it mentions here in this article. All right. So it said Germany's Hapag-Lloyd has also said its container ships will continue to avoid the route, which is a central artery for global trade on the passage from Asia to Europe via the Suez Canal in the Mediterranean. All right, it says the Suez Canal handles 12%. It says how significant is the Red Sea trade route? The Suez Canal handles about 12% of global trade and is assessed by vessels traveling from Asia via the 30-kilometer wide Bab el Mandeb Strait. About half of freight shipped through the canal is made up of containerized goods. The route also provides a vital passage for shipments of oil from the Persian Gulf to Europe and North America. All right, you have that's why the United Arab Emirates, all right, including Saudi Arabia, all right, accounts for the majority of the oil exports in the Middle East. All right, so they're going to further dictate the rise of these gas prices by way of the war provocations against them by the U.S. All right, especially after another attack against them by Esau, as reported here on CNN. It says U.S. carries out further strikes against Houthis in Yemen one day after hitting nearly 30 locations. The U.S. carried out further strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen, according to a U.S. official, a day after launching a coordinated multinational attack on nearly 30 Houthi locations. The additional strikes carried out Friday night were much smaller in scope and targeted a radar facility used by the Houthis, the official said. U.S. Central Command said in a statement late Friday that the USS Carney, a guided missile destroyer, carried out a strike using Tomahawk land attack missiles against a Houthi radar site in Yemen. The strike early Saturday morning local time was a follow-on action to a specific target associated with the previous night's operation, CENTCOM said. And there's a visual on that attack here. So I'm about to play this clip. All right, so this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. It reads, proclaiming this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And it's going to the prophecy of these heathen nations, right, including the dragons of Arabia, the so-called Muslim nations, prophesied in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, including the biblical Carmanians, which are the Elamites, mildly known as Adonians. All right. Are afraid of preparing their troops to be in formation to attack the whore, America, Babylon the Great, the mutual enemy of these lower heathen nations under Esau, Edom, the vilest, profane of all these heathen nations, spoken about in Jeremiah, the 49th chapter in the book of Obadiah. All right, and this is why the conflict in the Middle East is further rising, because Esau, Esau has an appetite for power and destruction. Like it says in Sirach, the 12th chapter, he would not be satisfied, with blood, with blood alone, roughly paraphrasing. Okay. because he's that red horse that's created to remove peace from the earth. So just like I believe it's the supreme leader of the Houthis, that I reported on yesterday, referred to Esau as a terrorist because he's exactly right according to biblical prophecy. So Esau calling Iran, and the Houthi rebels, terrorists, it's like the pot calling the kettle black. All right. And this is why these nations are preparing for war. All right. Including Turkey, which I'm going to get to in a second. So it says here in Joel 3:10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Did the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, for there will I judge. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. And Yahweh Shaphat, all right, is a reference to the Middle East, around the Euphrates River, the Persian Gulf, the Mediterranean Sea, all right, the Suez Canal, okay. This is where heavy conflict is taking place. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get the precept of Revelation 16 and 12. And it reads, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. All right, it's dealing with the United States through the Pentagon and the Department of Defense, representing the military-industrial complex. All right, the carnal aspect of Esau's power, which is his sword. All right, then you got the UK representing the financial aspect, all right, of this Edomite hegemony on behalf of the Zionist bankers, which is why they have British accents. All right, and then you have the false prophet, Roman Catholic Church, on behalf of the Vatican. All right, so these are the three unclean spirits or frogs on behalf of this Edomite hegemony, which is which includes the U.S. and UK, which is why they're heavily involved in this conflict in the Middle East, especially as of recently. So Revelation 16:14 says, for they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to that battle of the great day of the Most High God, Yahweh Almighty. You see, and this is exactly what we see, further playing out in these last days. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and, speaking of the UK, let me bring out this article. I believe it's this one here. Actually, no, I think I just brought that one out. Let me go ahead and jump over to, let me see here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this article here. Let me jump down. Yep. So this is it's on Business Insider. It says Russia is seeking to fan the flames of war in the Middle East amid Western airstrikes against the Houthi in Yemen. We're going to the kings of the East, the Eastern Hemisphere being prepared to destroy America. All right. And that's why the former Russian President Medvedev, recently, threatened to attack, America, as of recently. Let me go ahead and bring out that article headline. All right. Involving Medvedev. Because there's a lot of conflict happening in the area. Yep, this is on Reuters. Russia's Medvedev warns of nuclear response if Ukraine hits missile launch sites. So there's a lot of conflict in that area as well. Within the Eastern Hemisphere as well. And because Ukraine is another proxy war being used by Esau Edom against, their enemies on behalf of them Edomites and Russia and their allies. And there's a lot of conflict going on in that area, including the death of this guy, Gonzalo Lira. All right, reported on RT.com. It says a U.S. journalist jailed and tortured by Ukraine has died, family says. Gonzalo Lira's relatives have blamed his death on Washington and Kiev. All right, Chilean-American blogger Gonzalo Lira has died in Ukrainian prison, his family said on Friday. I believe this will make him from the tribe of Naphtali, assuming he wasn't a terror. All right. But his father, Gonzalo Lira Sr., said or wrote, I cannot accept the way my son has died. He was tortured, extorted, incommunicado for 8 months and 11 days, and the U.S. Embassy did nothing to help my son. Incommunicado for 8 months and 11 days, and the U.S. Embassy did not did nothing to help my son. The responsibility of this tragedy is a dictator, Zelensky, with the concurrence of a senile American president, Joe Biden. His father, Gonzalo Lira Sr., wrote in a note published by the Gray Zone. All right, so this guy was age 55, used to live in Kharkov, and was known recently, or previously known anyway, as Coach Red Pill, which I remember that back in the days when he was part of the Red Pill manosphere, so to say. Then he switched his YouTube commentary after the conflict with Russia escalated in February 2022 because he was living over there. So that pretty much influenced him to use that situation, to gain more traction in the World Wide Web, because everything now is about trends on the internet. So this guy wasn't stupid in that regard. Hence why he knew how he knew to prey on the unfortunate, in regards to the field of romance and so forth and dating, dealing with the red pill manosphere situation. And then he became, he started going by his government. Okay, Gonzalo Lira, which I believe is Gonzalo Lira Gonzalez or something like that. Okay, but now he's, he reportedly kicked the bucket. And this guy was just another agent, because one of his last interview I saw, he was acting mad shaky. He was exhibiting agent behavior. Okay. So I believe Esau set this guy up, but now they're reporting that he kicked the bucket. So that, I'm not going to focus too much on this because, Esau could be using this as some kind of distraction, but it's not a coincidence that he kicked the bucket, because he was talking shit about us, or the prophets of Jerusalem, not too long ago, saying that we're cuckoo for believing that we're God's chosen people and all this other shit. Now he didn't kick the bucket. Further confirming that what St. Matthew 12:36 says, roughly paraphrasing, every idle word that man shall speak shall not go unaccounted for. Okay, I believe it's St. Matthew the 12th chapter. So you scoff and you scorn, without repentance. If you're an Israelite, you're gonna kick the bucket, man, like this guy. Okay. So more activity in the Middle East. But going back to this article. All right, going back to this article I was reading on Business Insider. All right, entitled "Russia Seeking to Fan the Flames of War in the Middle East and Amid Western Airstrikes Against the Houthi in Yemen." Russia has condemned Western airstrikes in Yemen targeting Houthi militants, but analysts say Russia is providing Iran's allies with cover to prolong the conflict. Houthi militants in Yemen have attacked ships in the Red Sea in support of Hamas. In the wake of U.S. and UK airstrikes in Yemen early Friday, Russia sought to portray itself as an opponent to impetuous Western aggression. The U.S. airstrikes on Yemen are another example of the Anglo-Saxons' perversion of United Nations Security Council resolutions, Maria Zakharova, Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman, said, referring to last week's United Nations condemnation of the attacks. Zakharova said the strikes showed a complete disregard for international law and were escalating the situation in the region. All right. So, so that further confirms that Russia, that further lines up with Ezekiel 38, how Russia is going to be a guard. The modern day inhabitants of Magog are going to be a guard to these other nations seeking refuge from the West. All right. And a wine of fornication, that Western philosophy of the West, spoken about in Jeremiah 50 verse chapter. All right. And that would include Turkey, which I'm gonna lead me to this next article in The Guardian entitled "Middle East Crisis Live." Erdogan warns strikes turning Red Sea into sea of blood, as Sunak says UK must send strong signal to Houthis. Canada's foreign and defense ministers Melanie Joly and Bill Blair have issued a statement on the country's involvement in strikes against Houthi targets. Canadian Armed Forces personnel deployed with U.S. Central Command supported the precisely targeted strikes undertaken yesterday by the armed forces of the U.S. and the United Kingdom, as did Australia, Bahrain, and the Netherlands. Against Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen, these precision strikes are consistent with the United Nations Charter and demonstrate the international community's commitment to defending freedom of navigation and international commerce in the Red Sea. So they're saying it's not a violation of the United Nations Charter, but Russia is saying it is. By way of America's track record, you would lean more. It's not a mystery who, one would lean more towards considering, So it says, let me see here. It says Israel's foreign minister Israel Katz said, "We remember the Armenians, the Kurds Israeli minister criticized Erdogan. Says Erdogan said that Turkey was providing documents for South Africa's case against Israel in an international court of justice, in which Erdogan said, I believe Israel will be convicted there. We believe in the justice of the International Court of Justice, the Turkish leader said, according to Reuters. Katz then responded that Erdogan was from a country with the Armenian genocide in its past and now boasts of targeting Israel with unfounded claims. But you're one to talk because how do you justify that genocide and within the Gaza Strip? Thousands of lives dead at the hand of the Edomites. So you're hypocrites, man. That's why Job, the 15th chapter, speaks about, the tabernacle of bribery and the house of hypocrites being destroyed, roughly paraphrasing, man. Case in point, going back to the title where it says, Middle East crisis live, Erdogan warns strikes turning Red Sea into sea of blood. As Sunak says, UK must send strong signal to Houthis. Now, speaking of the Red Sea, this is Jeremiah 49, I'm sorry, verse 20. Jeremiah 49:20 says, Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh, that he had taken against Edom and his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, and the least of the flock of the house of Basra, the Edomites, are you Amalekites. The Israeli Mossad, secret intelligence, you're including your IDF and your Israeli government in general, all right, dictating these war provocations. Verse 21 says, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. Because the devil's going to fall, man, and fall hard. Like it says in Obadiah, the Heavenly Father is going to bring you down from where you're sitting. Your high prominent seat of global dominion, all right, through your military industrial complex, your central banks and so forth. Jeremiah 49:21, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. You see that? So this is biblical prophecy for the manifesting off these pages, man, of the Holy Scriptures, the Holy Scrolls, man. All right. Verse 22, Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. All right. And that's why in the book of Jeremiah speaks about how the men of your army are going to be like women because it's not going to fight. All right. So got this last article here. Speaking of Turkey. Okay, Gomer, Torgama being protected by the modern-day inhabitants of Basra. Magog in Ezekiel the 38th chapter. There's this article here. It's on Fox News. Turkey launched airstrikes in Iraq and Syria, destroying bunkers, shelters, and oil facilities. Turkey carried out a series of airstrikes in neighboring Iraq and Syria on Saturday, according to its defense ministry. The strikes come as the U.S. and other countries launched separate strikes in Yemen on Friday and Saturday. According to the Turkish Defense Ministry, aircraft struck Kurdish militant targets in Metina, Hakirk, Gara, and Qandil in northern Iraq. The strikes were in response to an attack on a Turkish military base in Iraq that left 9 Turkish soldiers dead. And the Kurds are further set up by the wicked elite, which further confirms that America is involved in their support because they're known to support these terrorist militants like Al Qaeda, all right, and so forth, all right, and Hamas, all right, which is records on that information, all right. So it's unclear on who Turkey attacked in terms of visually, in terms of visually being seen in fine print, but it's obviously against U.S. backed militant forces, man. We're just going to further entice Turkey to join Russia, and they had submitted their application to BRICS. So that further aligns with Ezekiel 30th chapter, how these nations, okay, on behalf of the king of the Medes and the dragons of Arabia and their allies are going to destroy America, man. And that leads up with this prophecy here in this last precept in Jeremiah 46:24, which reads, the daughter of Egypt shall be confounded. Okay, Egypt meaning bondage. America is modern day Egypt, like it says in Revelation 11:8, and so forth. All right. This is why there's no petition to pay these devil taxes, but we got to pay them taxes going back to the 1913 Federal Reserve Act. Okay, before that, people were getting their full paychecks. So you devils have a lot to pay for, man. You've been, because you've been exhausting and exacerbating the earth's resources, man. Sucking this earth dry. And that's why Revelation 11:18 says, destroy them who destroys earth, and that's you Edomites. Roughly paraphrasing that precept. In Jeremiah 46:24 again, the daughter of Egypt shall be confounded. She shall be delivered into the hand of the people of the north. All right? Your enemies in the eastern hemisphere, these north countries are going to destroy you. Okay? All right? And in conjunction with Yahushua and Elohim and 144,000 bringing hell upon you, man. Okay? Leaving America, Babylon great, neither root nor branch in Malachi 4:1. All right? Before the nation of Israel rules earth for all eternity. All right? That's not going to happen before the destruction of America, Babylon the great. So I'm going to end this off and give all praise, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom was the God of the living, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Baruch Kodash for blessing me this spirit to do this video. Should praise for the edifying, exhorting to elect. And with that, shalom to elect. Mawat la babal. All right, and on to the next one.